more of a detailed orientation for you. There I am. All right.
Stay within the first 3 rows.
Is it warm in here? I mean, it is. It's a hot box. Jeez. Okay.
Have that effect on people.
Okay. All right, so we're going to be handing out materials during this meeting, but in the beginning here, I just want to read over a couple items. First, really just what Toastmasters is and the benefit to us as a member of Toastmasters. Now, by raise of hands, who was able to attend the orientation last week? Great. Okay. So for any other questions, feel free to talk to me afterwards. Also, if we don't get to some of the items today, but one thing that you guys will be receiving here within the next couple of weeks in your materials, and we're going to be reviewing more materials here in just a moment, but it's what's called the Navigator, and that's really outlining week by week throughout your progression in Toastmasters, and as you're building your skill set, it's kind of like a roadmap. But I want to share here in the beginning. Did you just laugh because I said Amaria?
Yeah, I'm counting.
All right, that's great. Okay. Wonderful.
So it's hilarious. We were on the phone. We called Toastmasters headquarters, and the rep that we were talking to, I can't tell you how many times they said, it was off the chart.
Okay. If I do it, it's on purpose so that you guys can recognize that presentation. Okay.
Great recovery.
That is exactly why I am saying Okay, here we go. So I want to read from the Navigator here. It says, you join Toastmasters for a reason or perhaps many reasons. You may want to conquer the nervousness you feel when speaking in front of a group, or perhaps you're working towards a promotion at work, or you need help improving a specific communication or leadership skill. You may already be an excellent public speaker, but need a place to practice your technique. Whatever your motivation, you have something in common with all other members. You are working to improve yourself in some way. In Toastmasters, you can expect to practice your public speaking and leadership skills among a group of people who want you to succeed. Your Toastmasters Club is a safe environment. Here, you practice, receive, and apply peer feedback and practice again, which we'll discuss in more detail going forward. You have speaking and leadership opportunities in your club that you can apply to your personal and professional life outside of Toastmasters. For example, by learning to manage your body language during a speech, you may improve your nonverbal communication when speaking to others. By giving a speech within a specific time limit, you can hone your time management skills in your day-to-day life. Your club is your place to practice and learn. So, in regards to benefits as a chapter member, wow, this is the worst. My it's killing me right now. So this is going to help me so much. I can't wait. So within responsibilities that we have here, it's absolutely imperative. I just want to set the tone for our meetings, and we're going to go into this a little bit more later as well. But please respect others' time in being here on time, being punctual, and take part in it. The more you take part in Russ, the more.
Just bringing her up to speed. How many times you've said so.
Oh, you were. So the more you take part in the organization, you really will pull a lot out of it, which you're about to find out. So much of what we're going to do today is I want to navigate within our website here so you can familiarize yourself with a few different places that you should be visiting first. Now, in the past, Toastmasters had two different ways in which they educated members and helped to build their skill sets. It was one on the leadership side and on the communication side. There were manuals assigned to each, a lot of comprehensive learning, a lot of reading. Now they've transferred into, or they're moving into what's called pathways. So to introduce this, I want you to see this video.
Welcome to the Toastmasters Pathways Learning Experience, an exciting, flexible, and interactive way to develop your skills and help others in your club develop theirs. Building on Dr. Smedley's original vision and Toastmasters' core competencies, Pathways upholds the club experience while offering new, revitalized educational content that helps you learn communication and leadership skills that address real-world scenarios. Pathways expands on the current education and leadership tracks by offering more than 300 competencies across 59 projects. These projects are divided into 10 specialized learning paths that allow you to tailor your experience to fit your needs and your pace. All of this content is available online, allowing you to learn anytime, anywhere, from your computer, laptop, or tablet through Basecamp. Basecamp is the place where you'll find all of the materials for your learning experience, along with tools for your journey. In Basecamp, you'll be able to share feedback with fellow club members, view badges you've earned, access and save digital speech evaluations, and more. When you first begin Pathways, you'll take an online assessment that will recommend the path that's right for you. You'll be able to access your path from your education transcript in Basecamp, where you can view and complete projects. New elective projects, such as write a compelling blog and manage projects successfully, allow you to tailor your learning to meet your interests. Projects in Basecamp include a variety of interactive elements, including questionnaires, quizzes, menus, and expandable content. Educational videos model skills and provide demonstrations of the concepts you are learning. For example, Prepare for an Interview shows effective and ineffective interview techniques. Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring demonstrates the difference between coaching and mentoring. And Manage Online Meetings provides the best practices and strategies for holding a webinar or another type of online meeting. As you can see, Pathways represents an exciting paradigm shift that brings with it many new learning opportunities. What's more, Pathways will feel familiar to you because it maintains the things you love about Toastmasters, including your club experience.
What do you guys think? Woo! Woo! Thank you. I'll be honest, before I joined or was assigned Toastmasters, I should say, I really thought it's mostly just speaking at a podium in front of people, trying to get over nervousness, ahs, likes, different phrases that we use. But it's so much more than that, which you will find out shortly. It's really becoming a better leader, how to guide people through communication skills that we'll develop. So again, I'm very excited about this, and we're going to be learning together. Honestly, for me, who has been a member of a Toastmasters group in the past in the room? Would you mind raising your hand if you have? Okay, so put extra pressure on these two, please. So I've been to one meeting, so I want to say this, to have patience with me. We're learning together throughout this process, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So, all right, so I did just pass out a few materials. In the packet that they had sent us, the interesting thing is we're supposed to have 20 applicants to form a chapter. However, when you get the kit, you do not receive 20 pieces of material for the chapters. So some of you today will need to share as we're navigating through some of this material. I will be going into this a little bit more later as well, but when we had spoken to Toastmasters International, generally it's about a week to 2 weeks before membership applications are processed. So a lot of these things I'm about to show you, we may not have access to them just yet, but there's no reason we can't begin holding meetings and developing our skills. Sound good? All right, great. So first, with the website, this is one thing I'd recommend everyone does before our next meeting. And keep in mind, meetings, they're going to be held here in the 6th floor training room, Wednesdays, 1 p.m. This is where we are going forward. Let's hope it's not quite as hot in here. but looks like
Are you really hot?
Lindsay and Sandra are freezing.
I am freezing.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So we will have a space heater on that side of the room for the culprit. Okay. So first up, within Pathways, the explanation we just had, a brief explanation on what Pathways is. You will be given projects from week to week, month to month, that you'll be working on building up, well, your building blocks of becoming a better leader and communicator. First week, it's something that's called the icebreaker, which we'll be going over later in our meeting. So we're going to explain to you guys how to prepare those and where to find material on doing that. So first up, within Pathways, familiarize yourself with this site. Once you do have your login, can you guys see this okay?
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing? Great.
And
So,
what do you want us to do before the next meeting? There's kind of an interruption there.
yeah, so I'm going to be reviewing that a little bit more. I was
Okay, so
giving
you haven't
an
given us the
example of
assignment yet.
Pathways
Okay.
and what it is from a broad perspective.
So you just go to this page right here, log in.
Exactly. So you're going to see on Pathways, when I click on Access My Path, there's an assessment, which you'll do in the very beginning, which is pretty cool. Once you receive your login, that's what this is for. So I'm not trying to give you a place you can't go to, but once you do have your login within the next week to 2 weeks, by email you'll see that. This is where you can access that. You will also take an assessment. So it'll show later here what that is, but within this assessment, it'll help you see where your current communication skills are and perhaps what things you can develop. So it's pretty cool. It customizes exactly what you should be doing on this course in Pathways according to where you are in certain areas of communication and leadership. Does that make sense? It's pretty awesome.
It is.
And then, let's see if I can get into any of this here. Okay. Denied. It's under ship. Okay, so I'm skipping over to resources. This you can access in the meantime. Resource library, this has many manuals, one of which I've handed out today. So you can go here and under resource type, specific manuals, I recommend starting there. I just handed out a Toastmaster Wears Many Hats. So in the meantime, if you do not have a manual, I'm hoping that we can share once we refer to it. You can download the manual and have a soft copy. That is something that you're going to want to look at. You can even go here within public speaking tips. How cool is this? So it shows in so many different situations. Let's hope everyone in here is very concerned about accepting awards in their speech and accepting awards. So delivering eulogies, oh wow. So from every aspect, and it's not just from a business aspect that we can learn the building blocks of a great presentation. Okay, so yes, please go to resources. You're going to want to use resources, membership, and pathways. Between those 3 tabs, those are the main areas that you're going to visit in the meantime. Okay, building blocks of a successful chapter. A couple things. Member leadership expectations and requirements. I'd alluded to it already, but please be punctual to our meetings. You're going to see once I hand out a sample agenda for these meetings, it is down to the minute when we start and end both speeches, presentations, evaluations. It is very precise. This is teaching us, this is helping to engage on perhaps better habits than what we have done in the past, showing up when I can, ending when I can, things like that. So you're going to find out very soon that it's helping to create new habits in being punctual not only the time we begin, but the time we end, to have a very concise and clear presentation. For our meetings, 1 p.m., I'm going to say this. 5 minutes early is on time going forward. 1 p.m. is not on time. Are we in agreement with that? As far as the why behind it, obviously so that we don't have to wait and you aren't catching up, distracting others when you're asking what has happened before you got there. We are going to be starting at 1 p.m. going forward. Yeah.
you mind if I share a quick story?
Sure.
So I had a baseball coach when I was a freshman in college. The very first team meeting that we had, right, when we all showed up that summer, he said, if you're 5 minutes early, you're late. And we kind of wondered, like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Well, long story short, we realized what that meant when we had our first trip. We had to show up at 5:30 a.m. on the bus, and at 5:25, the bus left the parking lot, and 4 guys showed up in their car, and they got left behind. So ever since that day, that was just one of those things that reminded me, I always showed up like 10 minutes early, you know, to important events.
Excellent. Great story. And we understand, again, the why behind it, right? So I want to make sure we're all in agreement and committed to doing that. Thank you very much. We will also make sure that we end our meetings on time. So on our side as well, we have to make sure that these are conducted correctly for everyone. Attendance requirements. In our business, like most businesses, business owners, things come at us in this business, right? Many different things, both personally and professionally. What we have discussed is this. So we are saying you must attend 3 meetings out of the 4 meetings every month. This is not an exception to the rule where I came to the first 3 meetings, good, I have a breather, I can miss the last one. But we want to give that buffer where last minute things do arise that we absolutely must address. So again, 3 meetings every month. I also understand, and I'm human, I understand that things happen, or there's vacations that we've planned for some time, whatever it might be, and other requirements that we have. So please reach out to myself or anyone else from leadership, and we will address those items line by line. But again, if we're committing to this, what does a commitment mean, right? If I'm committing to this, does that mean I'm saying I will be here, or does it mean I'll do what I can, and depending on whatever else happens? So, thank you. Does anyone have any questions about that? I have a couple questions over here. Yeah.
Yes, oftentimes we might come across a 5 Wednesday month, so we skip one, or do we just keep on going?
Yeah, within reason. No, we're going to have the meetings every week, but for typically, and good question, for a typical month of 4 Wednesdays, please be here for 3 of those. It doesn't mean during a 5 Wednesday month, if one occurs, that 3 and you have 2 off. Again, we're not looking this as you have 1 off every month. We want to make sure that we're saying this within reason for things that do come up.
So basically, it's every Wednesday regardless, and then
come and
the allowance for 1 a month.
Yes, and come. I promise you this. From what I have seen already within this, it feels like the blind leading the blind right now, until we get much of our material and we're set up as a chapter with Toastmasters International. But just from the little I have seen, and from what you guys will see if you go to the site and read this material, it's incredible. So you will find value from it. I promise you that if you come consistently. Yeah, Barbara.
So is there any possibility, like say people go on vacations, they go on months, that you could live stream it or FaceTime it or whatever, this meeting?
We'll look into that. Really, this is something where we take part in week to week. So this is something to engage in. It's not something simply to watch. That's a good point. We'll look at it. We'll entertain that. But that's a good question. Anyone else? Okay. Great. And then lastly, member feedback and behavior. Speaking in front of people, I can already tell you I have current Toastmaster members and Russ counting my ums. There are people like Russ, the hecklers of the crowd, just ready to throw bars and ready, So from 2 sides, I'm saying everything within reason here, and hopefully everyone understands where I'm coming from. From the side of those that give you feedback, you'll learn in a moment about evaluations that are done. This is not simply, I prepare a speech, give the speech, it's over with. You're going to receive evaluations from everyone in the group. You're going to receive active feedback from your peers. So please keep in mind on both sides, we're all here to help one another. Like I had just read from the manual. We're all here to build one another up. We're coming from very different backgrounds. Very different backgrounds. There are people, I loved when we introduced ourselves in the first meeting last week with the orientation. There are those not in real estate. There are those that have been in real estate weeks, months. There are those that have been in real estate years, decades, come from different backgrounds, families, religions, whatever it is. And that's why this is going to be so cool. So again, keep in mind that we're literally trying to build one another. When you receive evaluations, feedback, people are not coming from a place of trying to point things out and bring you down, right? At the same time, when you are giving feedback, please make it constructive feedback as well. If you're going to point something out, give suggestions with it, right? So please keep that in mind. We want to make sure that people feel comfortable when they're presenting, well, as much as they can, but feel comfortable with the feedback and evaluations that they'll receive. Make sense? Excellent. Anyone have any questions about that at all? I'm trying to find any like mean people in the room. I don't really see any mean people just yet. I've done my best to filter out those individuals. So yeah, I'm kind of mean when I don't. Yeah. So for myself, if I don't eat, I'm pretty mean. So I'll make sure that I eat before I come and everything. I get angry. Okay, meeting structure. So I'm gonna go to another place here so you can see what roles look like. Excellent. Can you guys see that? All right. Great. So with that, I'm going to turn the time over to John. John, how long were you a part of the Toastmasters group again?
About a year.
Oh, it was a year?
About a year, yeah.
I thought you were going to say 4, but that's good
No,
also.
no, that
We'll
would
take
have
that.
been Jason Carlson who
Okay.
was 5.
So John will quickly go over these roles within the chapter. While he's doing that, I'm going to pass out a sample agenda that we have.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
And then that way, once you see this agenda or the outline, you're not going to be scratching your head about
Well,
who's doing what.
and I'm definitely going to go over this. I did pass out a slip so you could view and look at it. We're not going to use it today. So, oh yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay. That's not So each of these roles will be used during our meeting. It sounds like Russ loves to be the and so just to be fair, all roles are going to rotate. You'll have opportunities to participate in each of them. And so, with that being said, there will be an awe counter just at the end after all the speeches have been done and they've been evaluated. We will ask the awe counter how many awes everyone did. And they'll let us know. And then there'll be a timekeeper. So depending on what the speech is, a little bit later as we're talking, the first speech is the icebreaker. And the icebreaker is a 4 to 6 minute speech. Each speech, when you have it, it will have a little time on it that says how long it is. Now, also at each meeting, when we get to that, we'll also have something the topics master will be in charge of, and those speeches will be 1 to 2 minutes. So the Toastmaster is the host, the person that directs the meeting, and as much as Chris probably ain't happy about this, that's usually the president of the club that is the Toastmaster. However, I believe we can have that rotate. And so whoever is in charge of running the meeting will be responsible and make sure everything stays within a timely manner. Table topics, this is fun. So the person that assigned table topics, they're going to come up with a topic. And it's usually a very wide range. At the beginning of when it gets to their part of the meeting, we'll know how much time is left within the meeting. And so we'll be able to tell them how many people they can pick. They'll present their topic, and then they'll pick people at random that will speak for 1 to 2 minutes on that topic. And once that person has done their 1 to 2 minutes, they'll then sit down, and the table topics individual will pick another person until we run out of time for that section. After everyone has spoken, whether they want to or not, everyone will write down on this slip of paper who they think was the best table topic speech. And so there's awards given on that, whether it's a simple piece of paper saying you won or whatever, but there's awards given on that every week. The grammarian, their duty is to come up with a word of the day. So it's basically a new vocabulary word, something we probably don't use that often. They'll present a word, give the definition, give an example of how that word is used, and then those given speeches, for just the normal speech, they're fine if they don't use it, but if they can incorporate it, they're definitely encouraged to, along with the evaluators as well. But the table topic, where you're doing that at random, if you don't incorporate the word of the day, you're disqualified for the competition. So it's, and you may say it's mean, I know you just count that.
I actually did. I wouldn't even notice that Chris was doing it.
Right. So I said that may seem mean. When we first started in the company, to make calling in the pit and as a group fun, we would have a word of the day. And whoever could fit that into the more of their sales calls won a little pot that we put together. And I remember one day they looked right at me and said, "John, what should our phrase be?" And I'm all, "Hello, Kitty." And they all laughed, and Ryan Miner loved it. He was using that every single call. So that's the table topic. No, that's the grammarian.
John, can we
yes.
have that up on like the whiteboard just so that as we're speaking we can?
It will be.
Yeah.
So it's something to reference.
Okay.
Whoever is the grammarian should have the word and the definition print out, and we'll post that.
And it's throughout the meeting. So even those conducting will try to use that word more often. Table topics, those assigned to speak, everyone's.
So I need to look into it a little more, and I was reading, but I'm not sure what the difference between these two are.
So the topics master decides on the topic for that day, and the speakers simply speak on that topic.
Oh, that's
right.
right. That's right. Yeah.
So we not only obviously prepare speaking topics, but we also impromptu, shooting from the hip. We learn how effective someone is at communicating different topics that's assigned by the topics master that day.
And I have seen it where the winner of the table topics didn't even speak about the topic. What I mean is they just handled it like a politician. They said, yeah, well, blue skies are important, with that being said, and they just went off somewhere else. So it's a real fun experience. Now the evaluator, we're gonna have as many evaluators as we'll have speakers. And as often as we can, we'll have 3 speakers at each meeting. Because we want people, if we only have 2, we won't get enough turns to all speak. So as often as we can, we're going to have 3, because that's the most you can add and still fit in an hour. And that's just what's going to allow us to rotate a lot of people.
So yeah, keep in mind with this agenda outline that goes out, it is a sample. So it will be adjusted according to our group to make sure we're all getting value out of it. We're going to have 3 speakers as well as impromptu speakers.
Well, and every once in a while there'll be something that the leadership will need to address, and when that happens, there's usually 2 speakers instead of 3. But we'll try and keep that to a minimum. So then there's the timer. So once a week there'll be someone that will have a stopwatch they'll run, and they'll be told how long each speech is. So on the icebreaker speech, it's 4 to 6. At 4 minutes, they'll hold up a green light saying you're within your minimum. At 5 minutes, they'll hold up a yellow, meaning you might want to start wrapping up. And at 6 minutes, they'll hold up a red, meaning you're starting to go over your time. Now, with that being said, if you only go over your time by 30 minutes, you're not penalized.
30
Second,
seconds.
30 seconds.
You're asked to not come back if you don't over 30 minutes.
We're going to start throwing breaks if it's 30 minutes.
No. So, on the bottom it says best evaluator, best speaker. So each week it's a competition as to what level you produce and what level you brought. And we're going to write down the name of who gave the best speech. Now, if you go too far, if you're within 30 seconds of going over, your name can still be on there. But if you go too far over, then it don't matter how oratorial you were. Yeah.
Is that the word of the day?
It is for today, yeah. So that's what the timer does, and at the end of the meeting, right before we vote on who the best speaker was, who the best evaluator was, and who the best table topics was, they will give the times and say who's up for the competition, who's not. That's what the timer does. Meeting speaker, they just got to prepare their speech and be ready to go. And then the general evaluator, you know, I should have read up on that. It's been a while before I've been to a meeting. But they get up, they'll state what the purpose of the evaluation is, how to you know, whether it's a good evaluation or bad evaluation, then they'll turn the time over to the first evaluator that will evaluate the first speech and go on down the line.
Correct me if I'm wrong, not just that, but the general evaluator evaluates the meeting. So the way in which the meeting has progressed, if we've stayed on time, on topic, that I believe as well.
Yes, that's correct. And so these are the roles that need to be filled for each meeting. Are we wanting to determine who has the roles next meeting?
We will do that. Yeah. So we're gonna do
well,
that
I
in
wanted
first
to know
steps
if you
here.
want. You don't want to do that right now. Okay.
No.
Okay, that's fine.
So do you have the meeting agenda there, the sample meeting agenda?
Here,
Need
give
one?
me a copy.
So maybe since you've gone in detail there through the positions, you can quickly go through the flow of the meeting.
So,
does everyone have a sample outline agenda, by the way? Okay, great.
The presiding officer will call the meeting to order, and that's usually the president. Call meeting to order, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, welcoming guests, and introduce Toastmaster. So the Toastmaster is the one who conducts the whole meeting. Once they're introduced, in Toastmasters, they do not want you to leave the podium unattended, because in their mind, dead time is bad. So they'll introduce the Toastmaster. The Toastmaster will come up, they'll shake hands, he'll go off, the Toastmaster will be there, and the Toastmaster will just start conducting the meeting. He'll introduce who is, he'll just go down the list and say who the topics master is, who the general evaluator is, who the evaluators are. I'm surprised it skipped something on here. It's before the general evaluators, it's supposed to say who the speakers are, the three speakers. Then they'll also introduce who the grammarian, the odd counter, and the timer are. Once that's done, the Toastmaster will introduce the first speaker, say what they're speaking about, mention what their time bracket is, and bring that person up. So that's why it's not on there, because that's what they move into. Once the first speaker's done with their speech, they turn the time back over to the Toastmaster. The Toastmaster comes up, they shake hands, the first speaker goes. And then the Toastmaster will introduce the next speaker, say what their speech is, the time bracket, and they do that until that's done. Once that's done, the tabletop, the Toastmaster will turn it over to the topics master, and we'll do the table topics. And as long as I've seen it done that way, I've also seen it where it goes straight into the general evaluation. So we'll see which one flows better for us.
From a time constraint, yeah, we'll likely move straight into it. The topics master, by the way, they're assigned the week prior. So they have a week to think about what topic they would like to bring up in the following meeting. Of course, keep it secret. Don't share the topic with your friends. No cheating. But yeah.
Right. No, a lot of these will be assigned prior to. Some of them can just be filled in as we go. you don't have to know a week ahead of time that you're going to be timing. But yes.
So when a person is gonna be speaking, it's all within this. We don't have to go home and prepare a speech for the week that we talk. It's all within
Your speech, you will
Or are you
know,
just giving it
you
impromptu?
will know when you're speaking at minimum 1 week prior, maybe even 2 or 3.
So especially in our situation with having a large group, and answer your question, Barbara, so
Yes.
there's both.
Okay.
There are those that will prepare a speech in advance. This is what's going to be called the icebreaker. Talk about the T's. I'm not even saying what the icebreaker is yet. It's killing ginger. You were already asking about that before. You're like, what are you talking about, Chris, earlier? But yes, so the very first that you'll prepare, the first topic that you choose and prepare to speak on will be the icebreaker. In addition to that, after our assigned speakers will go that week, the topic master in review, very quickly, will mention a topic that week in that meeting, and then we'll have impromptu speakers, the brave ones who want to volunteer brave. Why would you not want to do it?
Volunteer, you
You
call.
call,
Yeah.
you
We can do
call,
both.
you-
No.
Ideally, I would like people to volunteer.
You call.
No, no
You
volunteer.
call.
So we don't want to hear from the same people? Is that what you're saying?
No, you call.
You call the one
Okay.
paying the most.
That's great. Good to hear from you guys. So yeah, so Russ,
Nice
you're
try.
first. I'm just kidding. So I'm just kidding.
I already did
So
today.
So yeah, you
I
did.
did impromptu today.
Yeah.
So, I know it says table topics next. We may want to do general, the evaluators, then table topics after
We'll
that.
talk about it again. We just want to give
So,
you an
anyway,
overall idea
yeah.
of the flow of the meeting.
Then after that, it goes back to the Toastmaster, who then will present the awards for best speech, best evaluator, best table topics. And the Toastmaster will give the time back over to the presiding officer, who will do a few things and close up, and then we'll adjourn. And that should all take place within 50 minutes to an hour.
That's why it's absolutely imperative we will start at 1 o'clock every week. Okay?
Right.
And obviously when people are speaking in front of the group, it does create distraction when people show up late throughout the meeting. So please be here on time.
Yes.
So I understand the topic master's responsibility for the tabletop discussions or speeches, but I don't understand who's going to be giving the topics for the speakers.
They're going to call on you. They're gonna call.
For the speakers themselves, they choose their own topics.
It's a progression. The first speech is the icebreaker. Once you do the icebreaker, you'll be able to log on to the website, and I don't remember what the next one is, but you just work down the list.
So
Now, if there's one that speaks to you more than another, you don't have to go down the list. You can just grab the one that you know you need to work on more than you need to work on the other one. Each speech doesn't exactly give you the topic. It just gives you a skill to work on.
Yes.
So you're going to assign your own topic. We're going to get to learn interesting things about our friends that we never knew, because we thought everyone here only did real estate, right? No, we're going to learn, and we're going to grow, and we're going to be friends, and it'll be awesome.
Okay. Thank you, John. Give him a hand. Thanks, John. Okay, so in wrapping up, we went through the sample meeting agenda. Okay, first steps, guys. Leadership positions. There are additional positions right now. John, VP of, remind me again, John, VP of Education.
Yes.
Vice President of Memberships. We also have Secretary and Treasurer. In interest of time, please, if you want to get more involved, come up and talk to us after the meeting or reach out to me in the meantime, and we'll share what those responsibilities are. But it's a great opportunity. And then
we will need a arms, whatever.
okay, yeah. So if you want to, let's leave it at this. If you want to get involved, please talk to me after the meeting. We have different positions that are very fun to take part in. Our chapter timeline, where we are right now and where we're going. As I'd already mentioned, we're waiting for materials. You, as a member, you're going to receive additional materials to the lucky ones that have gotten something today. There's a Toastmaster magazine. You may remember on your application it asked where to send the magazine and care of whom. But for instance, did I hear someone say, does someone have a question? Okay. So become a better conversationalist, how to talk to anyone, anytime. So there are wonderful subjects within the Toastmaster magazine, which you'll receive to your residence. You also are going to receive additional materials. One I would definitely refer to, go online, look at the manuals, how I'd shown you before under resources. But for those of you that do have the pamphlet, A Toastmaster Wears Many Hats, that will show a breakdown of these different responsibilities in more detail and give you more ideas to prepare for that responsibility. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, our next meeting next week. So we're going to have a meeting next week and the week after. The 26th, we obviously will not hold a Toastmasters meeting. What's the jury on January 2nd? Would you guys, I want to hear from you guys as a group, would we like to hold a meeting or will people still be on vacation? Do we want to give a 2-week hiatus?
The other thing
2-week hiatus.
The other thing to consider is that because of Mike Ferry, we will not hold meetings that week. So do we really want to skip 2 meetings in January?
Well, for those, because of Mike Ferry, we'll still have a meeting for those not going to Mike Ferry. But for January 2nd, by a raise of hand, let's just take a poll here. Who would like to skip the January 2nd meeting? Okay, so some go up and right back down.
I'll be out of town. I'm going to be in Arizona.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
How many would be here if we held it?
We're going to go ahead and we're going to hold it in that case. We're going to have enough people, just like with the Mike Ferry event. Keep in mind, as I'd mentioned during orientation, when we have company meetings, anything in conflict with our own meeting that we are supposed to attend, we should be going to Mike Ferry and everything else anyway. But I will be sending out, you'll see correspondence from us by email if we're going to skip a meeting. So keep in mind on the 26th, most definitely we will not be holding a meeting. And, all right, so I'd like to hear next week, we'll have 3 speakers. You choose your topic. We'll speak to you afterwards to give you more detail and tell you where to go and exactly how to prepare your speech. We also need 3 evaluators. And yeah, there's a couple other. So as far as speakers, any volunteers? I thought so.
Why not?
Nice. Look at that.
So awesome. Some of you just dodged a bullet. I want you guys to reach under your chair. I've been waiting for this the whole meeting. Reach under your chair. If you feel a piece of paper there.
Ooh!
Okay. If you have a piece of paper under your chair, please come to us at the close of the meeting. What do you have?
Josh needs to give his to someone else.
So whoever is the first person that's a speaker that wants to give up your speaking engagement, Josh has put himself on the chopping block.
I'm speaking.
No, he's taking.
So you volunteered not as
Oh yeah, who wants to trade evaluator for speaker?
She had the very same
No, just trade with her. Just trade.
What about next
No, but you're.
I know, but you volunteered to be a speaker.
So
That
just means you're the first speaker.
Josh, talk about a missed opportunity to earn an extra Finsky or like $20 or something. Man. Excellent. So, as far as preparing your icebreaker,
If it says icebreaker, you speak.
so the icebreaker is your very first speaking engagement,
Yes.
right?
You're a speaker.
And this is where you choose your topic. I'm hoping I can quickly find it here.
So can we clarify table topic master? Just so you know, you're all on the hook. I'm the table topic master, just so you will.
You're actually, it's not that much of a powerful position.
I know. Just so you know, you're all in my sights. I will give you a topic,
And he's
you
got to
gotta
look for
get
the
up.
one most
So-
scared.
So everyone just do me a favor, make Rick feel important, act like you're really scared. So, again, the table, as a quick review, for those that may not remember the exact role of the table topic master. Anyway, come to us if you have a piece of paper, but you will simply choose a topic for next week, and people will impromptu give a speech on that topic. So, big and powerful. But
No, we won't be able to fully log in until right
you
now.
can't, but there are things that you can see. So,
What we can see, we can find out.
Did you print out the icebreaker?
So, Chris,
yes.
did you want us to fill out the evaluations on you and John today? We'll give a prize to
Who did the best?
Oh my gosh.
No, it's not.
Okay, so I'll just leave it at this. The search bar, this is literally what the chapter manager from Toastmasters International was doing with me over the phone. So simply go into the search bar, and if I typed in icebreaker, because I'm just not finding it right now. So you can not only find a video, for those that don't speak English in the room, there's icebreaker in Spanish. They're on
Yes,
the-
yes, I'm here.
There you go. You speak English.
You're gonna do it
So,
speech in Spanish, and then they can't.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
so within
Even
each
speech
of these, you will find the material that's needed. Again, keep in mind the reason we don't have material for everyone, we have not received enough. In addition to that, we do need to receive our logins as members, which you will have full access and receive materials in the next coming 2 weeks.
So is the idea everyone will do an icebreaker before anyone goes on to their second speech?
Yes.
Yeah.
Once you do have login and you go into Pathways, you will literally see Project 1 as icebreaker, giving your first speech, going into Project 2, 3, 4, and so on. So it's literally taking you through the process of building your foundational skill set and going forward with that. In addition, there's take the assessment. So we will go into that more as we get our logins and go through that together. Obviously right now, I'm not a member technically, so I can't look at it either. But I just want to say thank you all very much for being here. You're showing the desire to invest in yourselves, to improve your skill set. The more we do this, things open up to us. As much as we think that I go after all of these different pieces in my life and reach these new levels of success, it really depends in a big way on the person we become. That's why I included that Jim Rohn quote that I absolutely love in the reminder email. But once again, thank you very much for being here. Other than, who does not want Russ to be a part of the chapter before we move forward? I'm just kidding. So, are you raising your hand for Russ? Oh, okay.
Who volunteered?
It was the second guy right there.
Okay.
Rob?
Okay, so for those of you that received, that had a piece of paper under your chair, please reach out to me and John after the meeting. We'll set you up for next week. And this is going to be exciting. We're going to learn as we go, but I look forward to it. So thank you guys.
You do a really good job. You'll be able to speak at some time.
Yeah.
So be careful how well you do, especially with me.
So does that mean